Have you ever thought about life after death and if we get reincarnated back down to earth? There are so many cases of children telling their parents from a very young age that they had a life before their current one, right down to details of family names and locations where they just would not have known any of this unless they were either told or experienced it themselves. Today I talk about 5 reincarnation cases that will test your beliefs on reincarnation. Hello and welcome back, or welcome to my channel. If you don't know what's going on here, well, I'm not going to be hot turt and spitting on that thing, but I am a horror artist and I like to draw what I talk about in these videos. Now, I like scary facts, anything to do with anything creepy, paranormal, aliens, and I like to draw, so I like to combine all of that into these videos to hopefully bring you a unique experience. If you want to support me in any way, shape or form, I do have a Redbubble store where you can purchase the prints of my art that I do in these videos, and I've also got other stuff on there like funny stickers or, other stuff, just go and have a look. And I also have an Etsy store where I make felt toy patterns, and you can download one and you can make a toy from the pattern. I've got horror movie characters on there, I've got my own designs. Just head across there and check it out if you want to. Now, with that being said, let's get on with the video and let's get on with the drawing. Shanti Devi was born on the 11th of December 1926 in Delhi, India. Right from a young age, she claimed that she remembered her past life. She was 4 years old when she told her parents that her real home was in Mathura, which was 145 kilometers from where she was in Delhi. When she was 6 years old, she left home by herself, trying to get to Mathura to her husband from her previous life. Her family started getting worried about her because every day she would recall her previous life in detailed events such as her husband's name, and that he had a spot on his left cheek and glasses, and that he had a fabric shop in front of Dwarkadish temple. Because she was so young and had never been to Mathura, it was definitely odd that she would know the details she knew, and finally she told of her identity, which was a woman named Shanti Devi, who died 10 days after giving birth to her son. Because of this, her current family decided to investigate her claims along with her headmaster from her school. Her headmaster, Lala Chan, found the husband named Kedarnath Cherby, and all details that Shanti had told them about him was evidence confirming her authenticity of her claims. Kedarnath sent his cousin Kanji Malcherby to talk to Shanti, and she recognized him straight away, and they talked about details that only Lugdi would have known, so Kanji told Kedarnath that he should visit Shanti. He did, and he brought his son, and Shanti recognized them straight away. After they talked about private things that only the two of them would only have known, such as his infidelity with a nurse, he was convinced that Lugdi was reincarnated. After the news spread like wildfire through the community, it reached Mahatma Gandhi, who was intrigued and sent a committee to investigate and publish a report about it in 1936 that concluded that Shanti was in fact Lugdi reincarnated. Shanti described her death and that she observed her funeral as a disembodied entity beyond space and time, and then all of a sudden she was in the womb of a woman. When Shanti reached adulthood, she taught Hindu religion and philosophy and shared her reincarnation experience. She died on the 27th of December 1987 at the age of 61. There is so much information on this case, as it is the most well-known and well-documented, so by all means knock yourself out on a deep dive and follow the rabbit down the hole on this one. James Leininger was born on the 10th of April 1998 in Louisiana, USA. At the age of 2, James began talking about his past life and showed behaviors of being what he claimed. James said that he was James M. Houston Jr. and was an American World War II pilot that was killed in duty. His father Bruce decided to take these details and research them, and this is where he found that the details that his son was saying was lining up with a pilot that was killed. It all started when his father took James to Cavanaugh Flight Museum in Dallas, Texas, as they were living there at the time, and James began to be extremely interested in the World War II plane section. At the age of 4, James had told about 30 crucial details that no one would have known unless he was James Houston Jr., such as his statement about being shot down in a plane near Iwo Jima and was based on a ship called Natoma. He said his friend was Jack Larson as well. James would suffer from nightmares about a plane crashing and sinking in water to his death up to 5 times a week and would cry, "Aeroplane crash, plane on fire, little man can't get out." Then he would draw naval aerial battle scenes between the US and Japan with drawings of planes crashing and burning. He would sign his art James III, which meant that he was the 3rd James after James Houston Jr. James's father talked with veterans of World War II and found out that what his son was saying all checked out right down to the way he died, and James Houston Jr. was only 21 years old when he died. His friend Jack Larson ended up surviving the war. James ended up talking to James Houston Jr.'s sister, and he revealed things to her that only her brother would have known, right down to their father's alcoholism. So his sister, Anna Barron, was convinced that James Leininger was really her brother, reincarnated. James's mother, Andrea, contacted a regression therapist to help him with his nightmares and let him know that the incident was over and it's all in the past and he is now safe. James's nightmares made a dramatic drop-off after he did the therapy. Carol Bowman, who is an author and wrote a book called Children's Past Lives: How Past Life Memories Affect Your Child, was contacted by Andrea, and Carol went on to tell James's story called Soul Survivor, the reincarnation of a World War II fighter pilot, and was published in 2009. In 2012, when James was about 15, he visited the spot where James Houston Jr. died with his parents, and he threw a bouquet of flowers in the water, and it was like a spiritual release. His nightmares completely stopped after that day. To this day, James said he still remembers bits and pieces of his past life, but is trying to move forward with his current life. Are you in pain all the time? Are you a shit sleeper? Do you get up a million times during the night to pee? Well, if that's you, this company called Down to Ground could be the answer to your problems. Down to Ground make grounding mats that you put on your bed, and you can also stand on them, and this helps alleviate some of the pain and inflammation in your body. Now, this thing plugs into the electrical socket of your house, but it doesn't use the electrical side. It only uses the ground that goes down to the earth, that earths everything out in your house. So you plug that in, and it filters through to your mat that's on your bed. And there is some amazing health benefits, as I mentioned, to this mat. It basically replicates going outside and standing on the grass and absorbing those ions that the earth emits. Now, if you want to try one of these for yourself, I do have a code that you can get $15 off your purchase of one of these grounding underlays. I will have it on the screen, and I will also have it down in the description if you are interested. All you do is just put that code into your checkout and you will get $15 off your mat. So head across to downtoground.co and purchase yours today and reap the benefits of this mat. I've tested this myself and I can truly say it works. If it didn't, I wouldn't even push it. I wouldn't even accept their affiliate links. But because it has truly worked for me and I went into it skeptical, I am hoping to help other people out there that have got chronic pain and they are at their wits' ends on dealing with it. So this could be an option for you to use this thing, and hopefully you will see some results. Jenny Cockell was born on the 10th of July 1953 in Barnet, Hertfordshire, England. She is a podiatrist and became famous in the 1990s for her claims on being a woman named Mary Sutton from Ireland. Mary Sutton was born in 1895, and when she got older she married John Sutton and had 8 children. They resided on Sword Road, a mile outside of a village called Malahide, north of Dublin. Mary died from pneumonia and toxemia in hospital at the age of 36, and the eldest child went to live with John, but the rest unfortunately went into orphanages as John was unfit to look after them as he was an abusive drunk. When Jenny was born, from an early age, she would have memories and dreams of being Mary. The reoccurring nightmare Jenny would have was Mary's death in the hospital, and recalls her guilt she admitted to her mother about abandoning her children to an insecure fate by dying on them. She remembered the village where she lived as Mary and described it in great detail, and also the characteristics of her 8 children. When Jenny was 10 years old, she started drawing maps of the village Mary lived in and the surrounding ones as well. When Mary was 15, she made bamboo flutes and gave them to her friends, and this was found out later on that Mary and her children did the exact same thing. Once Jenny got older and had a child of her own, she felt the need to try and find the village where Mary used to live. In 1989, Jenny was able to visit Malahide herself, and it was all so familiar to her, even though it was the first time she'd ever been there. Jenny wrote a public letter to the Dublin Evening Press in 1990, and she ended up getting an anonymous response from someone with Tom Sutton's details. She ended up talking to Mary's second son's daughter. She confirmed everything that Jenny knew about Mary. The Sutton boys had been reunited years later, but the girls and the family were lost to time. Sunny, the oldest child, met Jenny and was convinced after her detailed memories of their life that she was his mother reincarnated. Jenny was able to make contact with all of Mary's children except for Mary Jr., the oldest daughter of Mary, who died at the age of 24. She was able to find and bring all of Mary's children back together. Sunita Chandak was born in 1974 in an Indian town called Nagpur. By the age of 4, she started telling her parents that she had a past life and was from a village called Belgium, and begged her parents to take her there, but her parents had never heard of this place. She also knew details of the village, such as it had no school, it had a temple, and was located near a hill and river. Sunita also said she had a sister named Sumitra. Sunita's father decided to enlist a journalist named Padmaka Joshi to help investigate. He found 28 villages named Belgium, but with Sunita's details, he was able to narrow it down to 9, and Sunita's parents drove her to each one until she recognized it. They ended up locating the Kelmeg family through an article that Padmaka wrote about the case. The Kelmegs had a daughter named Sumitra, and her older sister Shanta had died in 1950 at the age of 5. Sunita saw the Kelmegs and other relatives and knew who they were straight away. She also walked around the Kelmegs' home, noting changes that had been made after she had died, such as the removal of a raised platform, their altar was moved, a brick wall was built, and a window that was no longer there where she, when she was Shanta, would see milk brought through from the neighbours. The Kelmegs were convinced that Sunita was Shanta reincarnated. When Sunita became an adult, she still kept in touch with her past life family and stated that when she moved out of home from her current life, she missed both sets of parents equally. When Sunita was 24, she had past life regression done, and it was revealed that she in fact had a second past life where she was an only child and her parents owned a cloth shop in the same village where she was, Nagpur, but she couldn't remember any names. Now, do you believe in past lives and reincarnation? I do, and the more that I read about it, the more I am convinced that we have all lived here before several times. Some of us are just lucky or unlucky, depending on how you look at it, that we remember our past lives. I reckon knowing our past lives would explain how some people are in this life, especially me with a lot of issues I have mentally and with fears that I have. Like these fears that I have no idea why I even would fear certain situations or certain things. So yeah, it would probably explain a lot. But the illustration that I decided to do for this one is I just got like a vision to draw like a female who is sort of like transitioning into like some sort of creature, but before she does get to transfer into a creature, she's being summoned back up into another human life. So there's like all this blood sort of coming up from her face, and her hair's sort of going up a little bit, and yeah, she's looking up, and yeah, she's going to be drawn into her next life, instead of suffering a fate of God knows what she is going through in the limbo land. So yeah, that was my illustration. Another one on black paper. This one was okay. Like there's some elements I don't like of this one, like with all my drawings, but yeah, this one I was only able to do one take on this, which was really good. So yeah, anyway, that is it from me. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. Dislike it, I couldn't give two shits what you do, because any interaction that you give me goes towards the algorithm for other people to find me. And hopefully I see you in the next one. Bye.